In this video, I'm taking a pattern of my favorite stretch jeans. I bought these jeans about 10 years ago and they are in a pretty sad state by now, so I'm taking off the pattern so I can make myself another pair. To take a pattern off, we have to make sure that all the seams are nicely traced. So here I am pinning the inside seam to make it flat so I can trace it. Spreading the fabric, make sure there are no wrinkles or folds on the other side. Now when I made sure that everything is flat, I trace the inside seam with a pencil. And the hem. Next I'm drawing a grain line using a ruler and a tracing wheel. Now I'm marking the position of the side seam at the hem because I'm going to repin the seam. These are my heavy duty weights to make sure that the jeans don't move. And here I am folding the fabric, making the side seam flat. And pin it to keep it that way. Pin it all the way from the hem to the waistband. Making fabric flat, press it down, tracing the side seam. And marking the position at the end of the side seam at the waistband seam. Spread the fabric as much as possible, make sure it's all flat. Now I'm tracing the seam, the waistband seam, with my tracing wheel. All the way to the center front. Try to be as accurate as you can. It is very hard though to get right into the corners and all the difficult to reach places. And now center front seam. Could be a bit tricky because seam is quite thick. Now remove the jeans and trace all the lines. Just draw them, make sure they're all straight. Using the French curve for the center front and all the curves. And don't forget the grain line. This is very important. Now we're going to do the back of the trousers, starting with the inseam. Again, trying to make them as flat as possible, straightening all the wrinkles. And tracing with a pencil from center back seam down all the way to the hem. Tracing the hem. And put little marks on the end, both ends of the hem. Now I'm doing the center back seam. Not yet. Doing the grain line first. Now we're going to do the center back seam. Pretty much the same thing as the front. Trace it along the seam. Try to be as accurate as possible. This is how much fabric we still need to trace onto the back part of the trousers. So to do that, first of all I'm going to put pins in a crease. Then unfold the crease to the actual side seam and align the pins with the little mark that you put there earlier. So you add this extra 2 centimeters or whatever to the side seam. And the same thing at the top, just where your tracing wheel mark stopped, you have to align the pin at the top and at the bottom where the mark is. And now flatten the side seam. Press the fabric flat. Make sure the hem following the original line. And then trace it just as usual. And just continue your yoke line at the top. Remove all the pins and through all the lines. Now we have to trace the back yoke. The procedure is the same. Spread the fabric as much as possible. Make sure it doesn't shift or skew. the pattern will not be 100% accurate. You'll still have to adjust, because in wear the fabric of the jeans distorts a lot, and since these jeans are about 10 years old, the distortion must have been quite significant. So the pattern is just the indication. You still have to fit your trousers. Just to make sure that your yoke is correct, measure the sides of them, and just to compare with the pattern you have taken. Through the lines, make sure your curves are nice and smooth. And mark the grain. Next, take the measurements of your waistband, belt loops, the length at the width and the position. Take the measurement of your fly and mark it on a center front, the width and the length. And write down all your measurements for the waistband and the belt loops. Write down how many belt loops and their dimensions. Here is the pattern. Next thing, I have to determine a stretch factor of the fabric. As you can see, the recovery is pretty bad, but to make sure that the trousers I make fit the same as these ones, I have to choose the fabric with the same stretch factor. So I have marked 10 centimeters on the line, and I'm taking my fabric, 10 centimeters of fabric, and stretch it as far as it goes along that line. Then I make a little mark and measure the stretched fabric. It shows 13 centimeters. That means that my fabric stretches up to 30%. Now your pattern is ready for fitting.